Hold up. Am I tripping? Did LeBron beat this same exact Celtics roster in 2018?
You ain't gonna make it to the NBA, boy. You ain't nothing but a hood who can do layups. You ain't going nowhere. You stuck. Just like the rest of them. They used to say I wasn't big enough to play ball.
You gotta realize, this wasn't the same exact 2018 Boston Celtics team. There's a lot of things that changed with this roster. The core is the same, absolutely, but this isn't the same team. Let's get real, y'all. Save the internet memes. Save us all the trouble. Let's think with IQ here, basketball IQ. We need to think context. We need to think experience, star power, coaching. This isn't that same roster from 2018. This isn't the same coaching staff from 2018. It isn't the same attitude from 2018. This is actually a better team. There was a lot of chatter about Kevin Durant being the best player in the world. And of course, the LBJ Brigade never agrees with that. They still think LeBron James is the best player in the world, which he may quite possibly be. So as soon as the Brooklyn Nets got swept, Kyrie and KD, by the 2022 Boston Celtics, the memes of LeBron James beating the 2018 Boston Celtics allegedly by himself, they say LeBron James shouldered the load and defeated the same Boston Celtics roster in 7 games 4 years prior. I pled with these guys. I pleaded my case. This is a better team. It's not the same team. Of course, 4 of the best players on the Boston Celtics current roster was on that 2018 roster, but 3 of them have got significantly better. Jason Tatum is now a budding superstar and an All-NBA first-team performer. Jaylen Brown is an all-star as well as one of the best two-way players in the NBA. And Marcus Smart is the Defensive Player of the Year. Marcus Smart wasn't even a starter at the time. Brad Stevens is now in the front office and Ime Udoka is the coach. They say LeBron James shouldered the load in 2018 in the Eastern Conference Finals. By himself, allegedly. Kevin Love did struggle the 6 games he played and missed Game 7, but the Cavaliers still advanced to the NBA Finals that year. If you look at the stats here, they're very lopsided. LeBron James was the only player to even cross the century mark for his team in points, scoring 235 points for the Cleveland Cavaliers, which looks like more than 1/3 of the points for the team. He also averaged 9 rebounds, 8 assists, a steal, and a block. He also did that efficiently, shooting 52% from the field, 40% from 3, 69% from free throw, but that's not LeBron's strength. But if you look here, you will see that Jaylen Brown was in his 2nd season, only 21 years old, and he was the leading scorer for the Boston Celtics. The next leading scorer was rookie Jason Tatum. It was their first season as the first 2 scoring options on a playoff team, and they made it to the Eastern Conference Finals, losing in 7 games, this close to going to the NBA Finals. In my opinion, they overachieved. Kyrie Irving was hurt. He did not play. The team was the 2nd seed, but you have to think about this. With Kyrie Irving, the team was better percentage-wise in the regular season, so missing their leading scorer in the playoffs, they weren't exactly a 2nd seed. They were more like a little lower level, maybe roster-wise, more like a 5th or 6th seed. So they overachieved. They defeated the Philadelphia 76ers, Joel Embiid, and they defeated Giannis Antetokounmpo, the Milwaukee Bucks. In that series, LeBron James was clearly superior to any player on either team. And in basketball, when you clearly have the best player on the court who's probably double as good impact-wise as any player on either team, you affect the series a whole lot different than any other sport. I couldn't convince the LBJ Brigade. I couldn't put it in context for them. They didn't want to hear it. They didn't even believe that this Celtics team was better than that Celtics team. I follow both teams, both seasons, and I clearly feel like the 2022 Boston Celtics is head and shoulders above the 2018 Boston Celtics, not only roster-wise, but also coaching. I ended my argument there. I was really brief with it, both in public and online. I gave brief explanations on why this meme should be ignored. Of course, memes are usually low IQ, but this is a meme I paid attention to, and I just wanted to speak my piece on it. Now fast forward to the Eastern Conference Finals. The Boston Celtics beat the Miami Heat in 7 games, and then again, a new meme arises. LeBron James, LBJ, defeated the same roster in 2018 that's going to the NBA Finals in 2022. Giannis couldn't take him down. Jimmy Butler couldn't take him down. And as mentioned before, Kevin Durant and Kyrie couldn't take him down. So now I'm thinking this must be a LeBron James extra credit assignment or something, just to add to his legacy now. You know, he hasn't played basketball in close to 2 months. His fans, they may be having withdrawals. They're used to seeing him. He made the NBA Finals, what, 9 out of 10 seasons. They're used to seeing their favorite player playing basketball around this time. They need something to talk about. They need something to fulfill that need that LeBron James need. And I get it. I get it. This time, I didn't engage. I didn't engage at all. Instead, I put on my lab coat. I pulled my beakers out. And I started getting to the science. I put together a formula that I often use. I like to use one's logic against them. I would take their opinions, their discussions, their takes, their numbers, their stats, their teams, however they feel about something, and I would use it against them. So now let's discuss some of the all-time great players of the 1990s. Most LeBron James fans absolutely hate the 90s. They don't give the 90s any respect. Unathletic, can't shoot the three, low scoring, fake defense, plumbers, firemen, public defenders. Why are they in the NBA? These are some of the things they say, right? And you're probably thinking, oh, he's going to bring up Michael Jordan. You're correct, but this isn't about Michael Jordan. Not exactly. What do the Jordan fans say? LeBron James is what, 4-6 in NBA Finals? Michael Jordan is 6-0. What do they say? Michael Jordan played in a watered down era. Who did he face? He faced weaker competition. That's why he was able to go 6-0. He can't beat the same competition that LeBron James lost to. That's your opinion? Hey, it's not fact, it's opinion. We're not going to argue opinion. What we're going to do is place our focus on the 1997-1998 Western Conference champions, the Utah Jazz. This is the team that is most disrespected, most downplayed. John Stockton, one of the best point guards of all time. Karl Malone, one of the best power forwards of all time. And Jerry Sloan, one of the best basketball minds of all time, was all a part of that team and coaching staff. Whenever they bring up Jordan compared to this team, in relations to this team, they always want to say Jeff Hornacek. Michael Jordan, he matched up against Jeff Hornacek. 6'3" Jeff Hornacek. 33-year-old Jeff Hornacek. That's not a tough matchup. Whatever. Okay. But using one's logic, this is what I came up with. In 1997, the Utah Jazz defeated the 2-time champion Houston Rockets in 6 games, 4-2, right? Now in 1998, the Utah Jazz defeated the Los Angeles Lakers 4-0. Swept the Los Angeles Lakers 4-0. On that Los Angeles Lakers team, one of the most dominant players of all time, Shaquille O'Neal, started at center. Robert Horry, at that time, 2-time champion Robert Horry. Rick Fox, veteran. We all need a little veteran experience on the roster here and there. Eddie Jones, all-star that season. Also a 3-time all-defensive second-team player, a two-way player. And Nick Van Exel, who was also an all-star that year, someone who I would compare to Terry Rozier. He's a high-volume shooting point guard. But they also had one of the greatest players of all time on that roster, Kobe Bean Bryant. Kobe Bryant was only 19, 20 at the time, right? Come off the bench, but he started in the All-Star game that year by popular vote. But he was still an All-Star. The Los Angeles Lakers had 4 All-Stars that season in 1998. They had a core that eventually went on to win 3 NBA championships because Derek Fisher was also on that roster, and he ended up starting eventually late in the playoffs, and I believe he started in that Utah Jazz series, right? You may see where I'm going here, right? You may see where I'm going here. That's a core. That's a dynasty. That team went to 4 NBA Finals in 5 seasons, winning 3. That is a dynasty. Just like the Boston Celtics, they switched out their coach, Dale Harris, for Phil Jackson, and the rest is history, right? So using this logic that most people are agreeing with now, even guys who aren't necessarily LeBron James fans are agreeing with this. So we're not just gonna antagonize the LBJ Brigade. We're gonna just bring this meme up, and we're gonna provide context and provide a similar situation, right? But by that logic, that core was a dynasty. They end up becoming a dynasty. We don't know what the 2022 Celtics core will eventually become, but as of now, they're not champions and they're not a dynasty, right? So the Lakers, compared to that, are mountains ahead. So back to the Jazz. The Jazz, who's often disrespected and thought of as not a good team, swept that team 4-0. 4-0, swept them, got them out of there. That was a good team, and the unathletic Plumbers defeated 61 wins Los Angeles Lakers with a dynasty core, right? So, of course, I know Kobe Bryant was in his second season. He only played a little over 20 minutes a game. Nick Van Exel, he got hurt a little later in the year, so he probably wasn't the same exact player. He was a little banged up. I know Derek Fisher also was in his second season. I know Eddie Jones, he's solid. He was solid, actually. There's really no excuse for Eddie Jones. There's no excuse for Robert Horry. He was a two-time champion at the time. Shaq was the most dominant player in the league at the time. So we can provide context, but which context are you going to respect more? You know, are you gonna say, hey, you know, I understand Tatum was a first-year player, Jaylen Brown was a second-year player, Marcus Smart wasn't even a starter on that Boston Celtics team. They switched coaches. They got a better coach, a more fitting coach. The same could be said about the Lakers. Phil Jackson replaced Dale Harris, a more fitting coach, someone who can manage the egos, who can manage the alpha males that Kobe Bryant and Shaquille O'Neal were. By your logic, the cores were in place there, right? Right? So how weak was the Utah Jazz if they swept a dynasty core, right? Right? So they must have not been that weak, right? Right or wrong? Like, let me know. Like, choose a side, you know? Choose a side, you know? That's all I'm saying. Of course, me, I see things the way they're supposed to be seen, but do you? That's all. That's all I'm saying. You know, so my beakers matched up. I came up with that formula. Now I'm presenting it to you. What I would like for you to do is like, subscribe, of course, first and foremost, but comment below wherever I post this, whether it's on my Facebook page, whether it's on my Instagram page, my Twitter, or my YouTube. Comment below and let me know what you think. Which side are you on?